Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Welcome to EP Live. We've got a rundown that's just for you, Platitude Platypus. That's a fun one to say. I watched EP daily for a lot of my young adult life. I miss them, he says. Listen, we're still making EP Daily. It's called EP Live now, and we do live shows, and we still do the rundown. We make so much content, and so many cool things happen on this channel, so please stay tuned. But in the meantime, while you're getting caught up on all the stuff that we have been doing, and hopefully you're hitting subscribe and that little bell to be notified, we got you this rundown. You can finally start playing with your friends in Red Dead Redemption 2. The game's multiplayer component, Red Dead Online, will begin rolling out tomorrow on the PS4 and Xbox One. Rockstar is releasing it in an unusual way, though. It begins Tuesday for everyone who owns the Ultimate Edition of the game, and then on Wednesday, anyone who played the game on the first day of its release will be able to jump in. On Thursday, those who played the game in its first 3 days will be able to join. Finally, on Friday, everyone who owns the game will be able to go online regardless of what version they have or how long they've been playing. Rockstar is likely doing this slow rollout because they don't want to overload their servers and cause the type of game-killing glitches that they had when GTA Online launched back in 2013. Like that game, Red Dead Online will let players join their friends to take on missions and side activities throughout the open world, and Rockstar plans to keep updating it with new content for years to come. I am super excited to check out Red Dead Online. I hope it's very, very fun. It's such a gorgeous world, and I have to tell you, since I finished the campaign and sort of put Red Dead behind me and I started to look at other games, I've felt a twinge of, I don't know, like guilt. Like I still want to go back into that world. It's so big, it's so massive. I mean, I felt relieved to say, okay, that's enough. I've got to walk away from this game. But I know there's just so much more in there, and I guess Red Dead Online gives me a chance to jump back in there and explore with pals, and we are going to set something up with the EPN members. I think that's what we're probably going to do, is to get online to play some Red Dead Online with EPN members. I have the game on PS4 and Xbox One, so we'll probably do some kind of a poll, and the most amount of votes with the EPN members. We'll make the decision when we get online, and stay tuned for that. I'm going to try to figure that out today, and I'll send up a private message to all the EPN members for that. Okay, a crazy rumor about the new Star Wars franchise has come in, but don't get your hopes up. The internet is abuzz with rumors that George Lucas might come out of retirement to direct the rumored Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. Before you get too excited, take a look at where the news is coming from. Disgraced former UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, while giving a speech to North Ireland's ultra-conservative DUP party about Brexit negotiations, touted the importance of UK film production. He mentioned offhand that George Lucas is going to shoot a new Obi-Wan Kenobi movie in Northern Ireland, sparking the online frenzy. Boris Johnson doesn't exactly have a reputation for being accurate or trustworthy, so he was likely using the name George Lucas to refer simply to Lucasfilm. George Lucas retired after selling Lucasfilm to Disney in 2012, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, which has yet to be officially announced, will reportedly be helmed by British filmmaker Stephen Daldry. We'll let you know if that changes. You know, I sent this little news blurb that is on the internet to Blake yesterday, and I have to admit I was a little bit excited about this. I think that the idea of bringing George Lucas back into Star Wars in some meaningful way like that would be pretty cool, and it's a good fit because he worked with Alec Guinness, of course, but he worked with Ewan McGregor on as Obi-Wan in the prequels, and they have a relationship, and I thought that might be pretty fun, but I don't think it's very likely. I am still super excited for an Obi-Wan movie. I know a lot of people out there have given up on Star Wars. I haven't fully given up on Star Wars at all. I still love Star Wars, but I don't think every kind of prequel idea makes sense, but Obi-Wan was awesome, and I love Ewan McGregor, and I think it'd be fun to re-examine that character with that actor. And here's a rumor that sounds a lot more likely. Breath of the Wild might not be the only big Zelda on the Switch for much longer. Nintendo might be bringing the last big Zelda game, Skyward Sword, to the new console. Series producer Eiji Aonuma appeared on stage at the recent Legend of Zelda concert in Osaka, Japan, where he teased that Skyward Sword is coming to the Switch. No official announcements have been made, but Nintendo has already ported several other big games to the system. It wouldn't even be the first port for Skyward Sword. The game was first released on the Wii in 2011 and was ported to the Wii U in 2016. We'll let you know when new details on a Switch version come in. I loved Skyward Sword. I loved every minute of it. My hands got got a bit tired. My arm got a bit tired swinging the sword around when I played it on the Wii, but I just thought it was so cool. I loved the flight mechanic system, and the dungeons were awesome. It was a great story. That was a phenomenal game. I would love to replay it, especially if it's all enhanced with HD visuals and, I don't know, maybe some design elements borrowed from Breath of the Wild or something. I would love to play that game again. There can't be too much Zelda on the Nintendo Switch, and that goes for all of the Super Nintendo games, GameCube, everything. I'd love to play Wind Waker again, too. All right, over to another big Nintendo franchise. The new Super Smash Bros. Isn't out yet, but it's already breaking records. Nintendo has announced that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has become the most pre-ordered game in the franchise's history, beating pre-sales of the previous games. On top of that, it's also the most pre-ordered game ever on the Switch. This puts Smash on track to become the best-selling Switch game yet, beating the current record holder, Super Mario Odyssey, which sold just over 12 million copies. Smash has some competition, though. The recent Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee have already sold 3 million copies, making it the fastest-selling Switch title so far. We'll get to see how Smash compares when it lands December 7th. I think this is going to be enormous. I was at the mall yesterday with my kid. We wanted to go check out the Lego store and see what kind of new... She always gets me when we go in there. I always have to come out with something for her. She's got me wrapped around her finger. Anyways, we popped into an EB Games, and they handed me a little pamphlet for Smash Brothers. And it has a little and there's 70 like all of them are in there, and there's so many characters. It's going to be so big, so much gameplay to dive into. It's kind of irrefutable. It's kind of like, why wouldn't you get this game? You can play as almost any character that you can imagine, and what I'm going to be curious about is to hear what people are missing, like what characters should have been there or what stages should have been in there. Very excited about Smash. Can't wait for that. And, it means a lot to Nintendo because they've only got those two big kind of properties to wrap up this year, and they've got a lot of Switches to sell, but I think they're going to do it because these games are huge. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for our rundown. Do me a favor, if you dig this video when it's clipped out and everything, please share it with your friends and your social medias and the people that you think might dig EP with the hashtag #PlayForever. Right now, we're going to move on to This Day in Everything Cool. Welcome to This Day and Everything Cool for November 26th. We'll always have Paris. On this day in 1942, movie audiences looked up at the projector booth and said, "Play it again, Sam." The World War II drama Casablanca got its world premiere at the Hollywood Theater in New York with a wide release following a few days later. The film stars Humphrey Bogart as sly American nightclub owner Rick in the Moroccan coastal city of Casablanca, which, as part of the French Empire, was occupied by the Nazis at the start of the war. Refugees and resistance fighters struggled to escape the war through Casablanca and book passage to America with the Nazis hot on their trail, forcing Bogart's character to stop being neutral and pick a side in the conflict. Casablanca was one of the first major Hollywood movies to begin production after the U.S. officially entered the war, which meant that it was one of the first big movies to have a decidedly anti-Nazi perspective. Before that, Hollywood censors had encouraged the studios to maintain a neutral position regarding the European conflict, so the film's main character, an American, deciding to get involved was an obvious metaphor for the country as a whole. Outside of the clear World War II symbolism, Casablanca is a pretty entertaining film in its own right, with a satisfying mix of romance, drama, and humor that became the Hollywood template for decades. Casablanca has maintained its popularity over the years and is widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made. In 1989, it was one of the films selected for preservation by the U.S. Library of Congress. The only show out there going from Red Dead discussions to a look back at Casablanca. Probably the only show on the internet or television right now doing that. We've got a marvelous show for everybody today. Thank you for joining us on EP Live. I see you out there, Adrian Leon and Bubble Buster and the VR Grid and Abby Jameson and Timberwolf and everybody, Jordan Cunningham, everybody else that has joined us today. We've got lots of great stuff to talk about. Lots of Marvel stuff. We're going to have guests from Marvel and Insomniac on the show very soon. And we've also got a review to get into. What I've got right now is a review of Ant-Man and the Wasp on 4K Blu-ray. Disney sent me the disc to review, Disney and Marvel, and I was excited to take a look at this movie again because I had a good time at the movie theater, but I wanted to see how everything held up on a 4K display and to sort of dive back into the world of Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, played by Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly, of course. And man, am I proud. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm super, super proud of Evangeline Lilly Lilly, man, she has gone so far with her career, and she's fantastic as the superhero. She really makes this movie something special, honestly. It's the fact that the Wasp is so central and so kick-ass and so fun to watch, and her repartee and her camaraderie with Paul Rudd and Scott Lang, you can tell that they're just having a great time in there. Michael Pena is in there, Michael Douglas, also Michelle Pfeiffer, who is, one of my big crushes of my life. She's terrific as Janet Van Dyne in here. And we've also got Lawrence Fishburne and, the cast of thousands. I think it's Hannah Karam. I can't remember the actress's name that plays Ghost. She's also solid, but unfortunately, she's kind of hampered by being the villain of this movie, but with not really a tremendous amount of drama. There's a great deal of fun, a great deal of lightness, and sort of an optimistic streak about this film, which is enjoyable to watch. But it doesn't really have the stakes or the sort of emotional punch or power that some of the other Marvel movies have or have had, especially in this year of the Avengers Infinity War. But it was still a very enjoyable rewatch. And one of the things that I really liked about seeing this on 4K on my screen was we normally get these Marvel movies that are really fantastical with all kinds of special effects and visual effects and people flying in outer space and different planets and beautiful blue screen and crafted exterior shots and things that are embellished like crazy. In this movie, we actually are on the streets of San Francisco. They shot a lot of it in Atlanta, but they also shot a lot of exterior stuff in San Francisco. And I've been to San Francisco so much, it's like a second home for me because of all the work that I've done with EP over the years. So to see it in 4K pop off the screen like that, it was a really big illuminating moment for me because this was a very real destination that I know very well. And it was honestly like looking out a window. It was like, I've been on these streets, I've been down Lombard, and just the way they framed and shot everything, it looked great. And then, of course, they add in all of the grow and shrink effects in this movie, which are a delight. I mean, the fact that the cars are all sort of Hot Wheels cars that are carried in a case, thought that was awesome. Thought that, Hope Van Dyne's new abilities to shoot these little expander projectiles, and they would make a giant Pez out of a Hello Kitty Pez thing was fantastic. Lots of great little touches like that. But there is so much grounded photoreal stuff in this movie, effects-wise, but also because so much is shot with cool exteriors and on location. It's meant to look realistic, and I liked all of that. The problem that it creates, though, when you compare it and contrast it to some of the other Marvel stuff, which is so big and so epic, is that it feels a little slight. And I didn't feel like our kick-ass heroes were ever in that much peril because everything is kind of played for laughs. And it wasn't also as much of a surprise as the first Ant-Man was, And the first Ant-Man is a movie that I watched again and again and got more from it every time that I have. And I feel like I'm not going to get the same amount of joy out of watching Ant-Man and the Wasp. Even though it has fantastic elements, I don't feel like it all gels together with that sort of surprise bow wrapped around it in quite the same way that the original Ant-Man does. Even though there's some things that tie it to the MCU in some pretty cool and significant ways, some allusions and some nods and some cool after-credit sequences. Also a great cameo by Stan Lee. The behind-the-scenes stuff is all a lot of platitudes and a lot of people talking about how funny Paul Rudd is, how amazing it is that Michelle Pfeiffer is playing Evangeline Lilly's mom, what a cool cat Michael Douglas is, and what a kick-ass, female superhero, just an amazing warrior Evangeline Lilly is to take the role of Wasp. And it's fun to watch, and the gag reel is fun to watch, but it doesn't really dive into the mythology in a massive way. It does sort of give you a little bit of the quantum realm kind of backstory, and it gives you a sense of how these effects came together and what it all means, or it teases what it all means, because we do know that there's going to be more to this quantum realm stuff in future Marvel movies. I think it's good. I don't think it's the best of the MCU flicks. I think it's a great Blu-ray, though, particularly if you want, or 4K Blu-ray, if you want to show off If you've ever been to San Francisco and you've got some photographs of your time there, you can kind of compare and contrast to the fidelity of this experience when you see it on your 4K display. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen the movie. And I would say that this is, depending on how much you love the actors and the characters, I don't know if this is an immediate pickup for you. You may want to wait for a sale or something if you weren't as crazed about Ant-Man and the Wasp as you hoped you might have been. Still, very solid. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And right now, we're going to move on to another review on the run that we've got, and it's about something that is tying all of the day's content together here a little bit, because obviously I've been playing the Spider-Man video game quite a bit, and there's DLC out there, and we thought that it would be a very, very fun experience to sort of dive in and check out the DLC for Spider-Man. Let's go. I don't know if it's my favorite game of the year yet, but I'll tell you something. I have been fully obsessed with Marvel's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. Insomniac made us a gift. Everybody that loves superheroes, loves this character, loves video games around superheroes, like myself. I'm basically describing myself. We've been in heaven playing this game. I've been playing the DLC, played the Heist, which kind of features Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, and her escapades with Spider-Man and what she's trying to do with these different mob bosses that are all across New York City. There's lots of chasing after Felicia, and there's lots of trying to figure out the backstory of Felicia and how her father might be interwoven into this mix. Lots of paintings to go and capture, because the Black Cat name is kind of a family tradition, and I thought all of that stuff was fantastic. I just love the character of Black Cat as well. It did feel like we didn't get tons and tons of content. It was basically chasing Black Cat around and her getting away a little bit, and then chasing her around a little bit more, taking out some of the mob goons and things like that, and trying to stop some crimes and some robberies. You get a bunch of new base missions, and you get a bunch of new crimes on the street that you have to stop, but for the most part, the DLC in the Heist is really just focused on your relationship with Black Cat, and how that might be a bit tricky for your relationship with MJ, which might be a little bit complicated there as well. I thought the Heist was really cool, but it didn't thrill me as much as Turf Wars, which is the second bout of DLC, which is more focused on Hammerhead and his agenda to take out all of the other mob bosses and all of the other gangs that are in his territory. He's just trying to take them all down and make himself super powerful and become the boss of bosses kind of thing. So you've got to go on all these different missions and take out different gangsters. You're on the hunt of Hammerhead, and he's got a bunch of tough goons, and we've got a bunch of new Sable weaponry as well in there, so some pretty cool technology that you have to fight up against, especially these shield guys that also seem to have these rocket boots on them, and they come sliding at you. There is a ton of combat sequences over and over and over again, and I did start to feel the grind of the repetition, but mostly because I'm obsessed with this game, so I can't put it down. And these DLC chapters aren't enormously long, so you can actually finish them in a night or a night and a half, and that's what I did. I just was like obsessive about the Heist. I plowed through that. I played a bunch of it with my daughter, who has been exposed to the whole Spider-Man myth through this game, which is remarkable. I love that she has, because it's such a well-made experience, and she loved Black Cat. She just thought she was the coolest. And the Hammerhead stuff gets a little bit more violent, so my kid actually was like, I'm out. I don't want to see everybody shooting at each other, and the fights get a little bit more ferocious. The enemies amp up a little bit, and well, you know what? I'm not going to spoil too much. I enjoyed Turf Wars quite a bit. I think the gameplay is better in Turf Wars, but I like the story sequences, especially with Black Cat, a little bit more in the Heist. So far, I am all in on this DLC. I beat everything 100%, got to the end, and I'm still swinging around trying to figure everything out, see if there's anything else for me to do. I've got a new Game Plus started, and presumably get more trophies for beating the game again on harder difficulties. So I may do that. It's been impossible for me to put this damn game down. There's still one more chapter of DLC to come out, and I can't wait for it. I am all in on Marvel's Spider-Man. I'm going to give The Heist, starring Black Cat, an 8.5 out of 10, and I'm going to give Turf Wars a 9 out of 10. They are good standalone DLC components, but the thing that these two DLC packs really instill in me is the desire for much, much more. Please give us more. Spider-Man, Insomniac. I'm having so much fun with this game. All right, you guys, we are going to ask Insomniac and Marvel about more Spider-Man because I have been loving it. We're waiting for them a little bit, so we've got a little bit of time to kill. So if you've got any questions or comments or anything you want to throw our way, please do that. Blake is watching the chat right now. I want to just give a shout out to Luc Gagne, who sent me this great photo. I guess this is from Fan Expo. I don't know if I showed this before or not, but he's wearing the perfect, appropriate shirt for today. He's wearing a Spider-Man shirt, and I think he picked up an EPN shirt that day or something. I was at the 8-Bit Beans booth, which is the coffee company that makes the Espresso Playground, and he's got a great big smile on his face. It was awesome to see you, and thank you for your nice comment. He said, Fan Expo 2018, I met the man, me. He's the real deal. Thank you, sir. It's very, very kind. Okay, and the other thing that I want to talk about, too, is the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards are coming up, and this is partially why I wanted to get Insomniac and Marvel on the show, because I wanted to talk to them a little bit about their success that they've had with Spider-Man, and what a great year it's been for them. But it's time for all of us to start thinking about the best games of the year, and there's still a couple of big ones coming. And I haven't played the new Hitman. I definitely want to get into that. I haven't touched Fallout 76 yet, but there's still some really big titles that are headed our way with Smash and with Just Cause 4. Those are both December releases. So I think we need to touch those games. We need to be able to talk about them a little bit. And then I think it's going to be December 10th to the 14th. I think I have my dates right. We're going to be running content every single day at EP Live about the Rocket and Ray Guns. We may cut it, so we haven't decided yet. We may edit it together and just post it as finished videos, or we may go live, or it might be a combination of both. But those are going to be the days. And the one thing that I want to tell everybody is that we've opened it up to the EPN members. Those are the people that press the join button and become part of the membership program to support EPN. The opportunity to send us video clips of their choices for the categories like Best Racing Game, Best RPG, Best PlayStation 4, Best Xbox One, Best Switch. So if you'd like to do that, we'd love to put some of that video content into the show. And we're obviously going to reach out to some of the other people that we know and love in the community. And we're going to try to put together the best damn Rocket and Ray Gun Awards show that we can. And the other thing that I'm going to be doing as well is putting together a video like I did last year of my favorite games from 2018. And absolutely, Marvel's Spider-Man is going to be in that list. And I've started to kind of think about what other titles are going to be out there. I cryptically tweeted out yesterday that one of my contenders for Game of the Year is actually a VR game. And I will let you guys all kind of decide, talk amongst yourselves and try to figure out what that might be. Blake, any questions or comments?
Yeah, Bo is asking, where's Tommy?
Where's Tommy? I get that question quite a bit. Tommy is running 2 companies now. He's on tour with Video Games Live, and he's working on a brand new video game console. It's called the Intellivision, which is based on a 40-year-old machine. He's bringing it back in 2020 with a lot of classic stuff and a lot of updated stuff and a lot of new stuff. And I got to be honest, I'm very excited to see what he's got cooking with this console. I've been playing a lot of Super Nintendo and Genesis games lately because it's been a nice break from the always connected, always updating, always patching experiences that are sort of commonplace these days. And it's been kind of freeing and fun to play some classic cartridge-style experiences. So it makes me think that other people out there are going to be kind of tuned into this idea of this sort of simpler, experiences, the 2D experiences that they're shooting for with Intellivision. Plus, he's putting this Intellivision seal of approval thing into the mix where they're not going to publish anything that is less than a 7 out of 10. So they're going to scrutinize all of that stuff. Let me check and see. Any other questions or comments, buddy?
Yeah. Bubble Buster is asking if you did any Black Friday shopping.
Bubble Buster. I did do some Black Friday shopping. I bought a bunch of pants for my kid. She's growing very fast, and she plays in the playground quite a bit. She gets holes on her knees all the time, so we had to buy her some new pants. That was it. I was down in downtown Vancouver in the malls on Black Friday. It was insane. But I was also on the radio. I was on Linda Steele's show on CKNW talking about Celeste, which is a Vancouver-made experience that's up for Game of the Year with the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. So kudos to Matt Thorson and his team for that incredible game. And then, of course, they asked me about Fortnite. But I had a good time on the radio. Brought my kid in. She watched all of that. And then we went and did a little bit of shopping. So it was kind of a crazy day, but it was fun. Yeah, it was cool. And then we were out yesterday at another mall to go to the Lego store. So we've been around a lot of shopping crowds. But I didn't see, I don't know, did you guys see any like fisticuff videos of people rushing into Walmarts or were they out there? Yeah. People are still fighting. It's insane. Like, I don't know, like it seems so nuts to get that amped up about these sales and deals, but I don't know. What can I say? All right, let's see if, what time we got here? We should have these guys on the line. Let's see if they are ready. Are you guys ready? Looks like they are. Okay, so I'm giving them a shout. Don't go to.
You can go to the buried treasure and then come back with that if you want.
No, I think these guys are going to be in here. If there's any other comments or questions, we will get to them. This is live. We're live, guys. We're live on the internet right now.
VR Great is asking, have you played Beat Saber yet?
I don't think I have.
We're coming in. I got Bryan.
Hang on, it just came in.
Oh, cool. Okay. I haven't played Beat Saber yet. Definitely going to want to. Okay. All right. We got him. Oh, we're going to move. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Let's go to the buried treasure. Go to the buried treasure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're going to run the buried treasure, and then we're going to come right back with Marvel and Insomniac. Here's our buried treasure for today. Media Molecule gets all kinds of praise because of their incredible work on the Little Big Planet franchise, and of course they've got the upcoming Dreams for the PlayStation 4. But there's a buried treasure that you might have forgotten about. It's called Tearaway. At least it was on the Vita when it was released in 2013. On the PlayStation 4, it was remastered and some new stuff was added to it, and it's called Tearaway Unfolded. That came out in 2015, and it's a very cute and accessible and family-friendly action platformer where you played this little papercraft character and you walked around and you could interact with all kinds of objects as if it was all constructed out of paper. So it's almost like, you know, you're sitting at a child's desk and they've crafted all of this beautiful world for you with, sunrises and sunsets and trees and little birds and little creatures, and everything looks like it's made out of paper. It's incredibly ingenious, and the physics are solid, and the gameplay was super fun. Sometimes it got a little bit confusing to know exactly where to go because everything looked like it came out of construction paper, but it's such a beautiful and clever conceit, which is something that we're starting to depend on Media Molecule to provide for us. And clearly it was also meant to tap into that construct your own gameplay as well design that they're really famous for. Maybe not to the level of Little Big Planet or to the level of Dreams, definitely not to the level of Dreams, but it had a little bit of that customizability as well. This was a very cool, very fun, very accessible game, whether you played it on the PS4 or you played it on the PlayStation Vita, and that's why I think Tearaway makes for an excellent buried treasure. It still works. Bryan Intihar is joining me. He is creative director at Insomniac, yes? And he worked on Marvel's Spider-Man. I'm glad I got your job title right. Bryan, you can look right at the camera, actually. That's better. Okay. So you're looking looking right at us. Okay, that's perfect. It's great to see you, brother. It's been a bunch of months since we talked last, and you shipped a little game that has stormed the universe.
It's a small independent title that definitely not. No, it's been awesome. It's been, I think I've used the word surreal more than anything the last probably since E3, just because the response to the game, how many people are picking it up and playing, and just the response has been awesome. So, Vic, we talked a couple of years ago back at E3 about kind of this being like a dream come true, but to finally now have the game out and seeing the response by the fans, and just seeing like all over the world people playing it, it's been spectacular.
Have you received a spectacular? I like that. Have you received a piece of fan mail or something that just hit home what you guys accomplished?
Yeah, there's been a lot of crazy things. I think whether it was like my family's originally from Cleveland, so seeing LeBron James and his kids playing the game
Yeah.
on Instagram one day, and then like seeing someone like Lin-Manuel Miranda play it was pretty surreal. But I would say that probably the thing that really hit closest to home was one of our fans posted about him after he played the game, started volunteering more at his aunt's homeless shelter.
Wow.
And obviously Peter does that in the game. He helps out Aunt May at Feast. So to kind of see, we obviously make these games to entertain people, but when they actually lead people to be better people, that's probably the biggest victory that we could ever accomplish as game makers.
Yeah, and that's the wonderful thing about the universe that Stan Lee and his co-creators built for us, right? Is like they grounded these heroes and they made them heroes with or without their costumes on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why people always ask me like why do I think Spider-Man is so popular even to this day, and I think it's because he's probably one of the most relatable heroes out there. Like, listen, as much as I love Tony Stark, it's hard to relate to a billionaire.
Yeah.
As much as I love Thor, it's hard to understand what a god goes through.
Yeah.
But I think when someone like you have Peter, who, whether he's 15 or he's 23 in our game or even older sometimes in the comics, he has that sense of relatability, that vulnerability, when he's not, even when he succeeds, sometimes the other version of him fails. So I think we can all kind of relate to that. So I think that's why he's kind of been so endearing over these so many years.
Take me through the launch week of the game, because I know you guys burn the midnight oil until you actually press, okay, it's live. And there were patches coming in right at the 11th hour too. I remember like some tweets and reviews of the cop signals are going off too much. Oh my god! And then there was a patch, and were you guys just pulling your hair out? How was it when you guys were shipping?
I have to say, like, a lot of that, I mean, fortunately for everybody else, it doesn't really involve me, because at that point I'm kind of hands off. Like, the producers don't want me involved at all. Like, I basically, what happened was I kind of step out about a month before the game actually hits store shelves, because to be honest, I'm just going to cause problems for the producers.
Sure.
Because I'm going to be like, well, can we just make this thing better or that thing better? And that's just going to hurt the stability of the game. So I kind of basically, we did that preview event at the end of July, and then I went off to Europe to do the preview tour. And pretty much from that moment, from August on, I was kind of hands off and just let our producers take over and work with whether a gameplay team, our core team, which is our tech team, UI, whatever, kind of fixing those final bugs. Because at the end of the day, I work with a lot of talented people, and you got to let those people do their job. And especially when it comes to our producers, that's their go time, is to make sure that game is ready to go. And so one of our lead producer, Scott Mahalik, on the Insomniac side, I've known Scott since he was 15 years old, and I trust him more than I trust anybody. So I knew the game was in good hands, and my job in that situation was to leave him alone. And I think Scott made sure that not only was he making sure everybody was doing what they need to do here to get the patch done, he was getting feedback from either reviewers, or even when the game went live, he's looking at the Reddits and the gaming forums, seeing what are the problems that people are running into. And then he had a lot of support, obviously, from our Sony counterparts, as well as Marvel, to kind of, what are those top line items that we want to fix? The thing is, Vic, we've known each other for a long time. When I started reviewing games around your time, it was the game was out and then it was done, right?
Yep.
But so much now is the game comes out and development continues, and that's especially when you had that many people playing the game, you just sometimes you can't test for that much stuff. I mean, you try to do your best job, but I would say that what's been awesome is that we've been able to, if people have either issues with the game or requests, we've actually been able to turn those around pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we complain about that sometimes. Some of us, people that have been in this business for a long time, this fact that we're always connected and there's always patches and all that stuff. But there is a beauty to being able to embellish and correct. Yeah,
and I will say, like, our philosophy is we would if it were up to us, we would never patch, right? Like, I mean, we go into going like, when the game hits store shelves, it's good to go. And I would say we don't depend on the patch, but it's an advantage for us, or any game today, that if something does come up unexpected, we can react pretty quickly, and we can turn on the patch, and something this anticipated with so many people playing, we get a lot of help from obviously Sony to kind of get that tested, get it approved, and get it uploaded so people can download it.
This is you've been at Insomniac now for what, about 5 years, 6 years?
Next March will be 11.
11 years. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Time's moving fast for all of us,
Oh,
man.
yeah, no, I know.
But there are people at Insomniac, I think, who've been there about 25 years now, maybe?
Yeah, so next year I believe will be our 25th anniversary. We've had obviously Ted was there since day one, and we've had our owners Bryan and Al there since day one. But I believe Chad DeZern, one of our executives, has been here. I think he's celebrating the year 20 or 22, 25. I don't know. It's pretty awesome. And what's really great is like Jacinda Chu, our art director, has been here almost 15 years now. Our game director Ryan Smith has been here about 11, 12 years. The guy, Doug Sheehan, who is our lead programmer, very influential on swinging mechanics in the game, has been here for 12 years. So there's I think it's kind of testament to how great it is to work in Insomniac that, our leadership has been sticking around, but as well, people who came here as, junior designers, artists, even me, someone came in through the community team, have stayed with the company for so long.
It's an incredible company, and it's been a sheer joy for me to sort of cover Insomniac over the years and to see it grow. But I have to think that things have changed a bit for the studio now, because you've released the game, which is the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive in history, and it's also the one where more people are completing it and platinuming the game.
We beat Corey on one thing. We got him. We got God of War on one thing.
But Bill Rosemann is here. Woo!
Hey, believers!
From Marvel. Stuck in some LA traffic, I'm sure.
There's
Yeah.
camera.
There's camera.
Yes.
I see it.
How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be seen.
I was just, I'm wondering, does it feel a bit different at Insomniac now? Do you feel like there's a little bit more spotlight on you guys? I mean, you've had massive success with Ratchet, and Disruptor even was a big success when it came out, and lots of great games over the years. But is everything a little bit amped now that Spider-Man?
Yeah, I mean, I only talk in third person from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's really happy these days. No, I mean,
I'm not allowed to look at him in the eye.
yeah, we're not even gonna look at each other. I don't even want to,
No.
No, I would say that we are beyond thrilled with the reaction to the game, and I think that we all knew that Spider-Man was really popular. I mean, we knew it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we ever anticipated this kind of reaction, where it came out of the gate so strong, and it continues to do strong, even with some really amazing games also coming out. You have the Assassin's Creeds, you have Call of Duty, you have that small indie game, Red Dead. I mean, so I think that what's been really awesome to see is that the game continues to be talked about, discussed, played, and I think a lot of that also has to do with the team that's been working on the DLC to keep people interested with new suits, addressing some of the issues people have spotted, but also giving them new content. So I'm not gonna lie, we've been flying high here. I mean, it's been crazy, I think, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm kind of at a loss for words, because I don't think we all knew it would be big. We didn't know how big it was going to be.
And you're still in it too, right? It's all still happening.
Oh,
you're still shipping content about this game, and I don't know if you.
Last week we did. So,
Mm-hmm.
But I know that Bill Rosemann is in your studio quite often, and you guys have to collaborate and talk all the time. Take me into this, Bill. What was the decision with Insomniac and Sony and PlayStation's publishing this thing, and it's going to be an exclusive for PlayStation 4? How did it come together that this combined group put this title together?
Well, you could owe it all to this guy.
Really?
What happened is, and it was right when I was joining Marvel Games. Prior to working on games, I used to work on the East Coast in the New York office making comic books.
Okay.
And I've been lucky enough now to work for Marvel over 20 years.
Amazing.
So I come from that side of it, from more the storytelling side. But I grew up playing games, and I love games. And so when my boss Jay Ong reformed the Marvel Games team, I jumped at the chance to come over. So I'm creative director for our group, and I work with all of our partners, making sure all the games are 100% authentically Marvel. And so what happened was, as I understood it, again, this happened a few months prior to me joining the team. And I'll say this, when Jeong reformed Marvel Games, and I think this is important for the game, is that prior to this, some of the games we were making were, adaptions of, adaptions of movies and whatnot. And that was what you did at the time. And then finally they realized, hey, that's not really working. It's not what people want. We should, let's respect each medium. A movie is a movie, and let's let a game be a game. and let's let our games tell their own stories. And instead of trying to fit a game in a window, let's just, instead of making Spider-Man Homecoming the game, let's just make the best Spider-Man game and release it at the proper time. And so that's been the philosophy for the last 4 years. And this is the first proof point of that philosophy. So rewind a few years, and what happened is Sony and Marvel started talking and said, hey, we have a great relationship with Insomniac. Would you be interested in working with them? And on Jay's side, he was like, of course, I love Insomniac. I love Ratchet and Clank, love Sunset Overdrive. And so the question then came to Insomniac is, if you wanted to work with Marvel, what character would it be? And as I understand it,
it had to be Spider-Man.
This guy runs into Ted's office and says, it's got to be Spider-Man, and I got to be the creative director. And so on the Marvel Games side, it was, of course, you look at Sunset Overdrive and you can see the DNA.
Yeah.
You can see the DNA there of the traversal, how fun it is, the attitude, the humor. And then you look at Ratchet and Clank and how the gameplay and how inventive it was and smart and funny.
Yep.
And so we knew, if you're going to do a Spider-Man game, one of the crucial components is that it should be fun and funny. And we knew Insomniac would bring all that to the party,
and a lot of heart.
And a lot of heart. That's the other thing is that Insomniac really thinks as Marvel does. Even though Marvel is known around the world, we still look at ourselves as underdogs. We have that underdog mentality from the very beginning of when Stan and Jack and Steve Ditko first launched the Marvel Universe. They were real underdogs, and they didn't know how long they were going to last, and so they were trying to do things that were very innovative and tell stories that they wanted to tell because they didn't know if in a week or two Marvel would still be around. So from the very beginning, that's instilled in us to be kind of these scrappy underdogs. And we knew that's how, I think, Insomniac, in ways, you view yourselves as underdogs.
Very
and
much
so.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
really connected.
We're one of the, there's not a ton of independent studios making games at the size that we make. Obviously, there's a lot of independent studios, but not a lot of them make games at this size, right? So, I mean, we do consider ourselves our underdogs for sure. And I think that, it just felt like it was a slam dunk choice, like a no brainer to do it because, as all the reasons Bill said, and like, I don't know about you, but like, I think you've said this, and I apologize if I'm not quoting you, but like, I feel like Spider-Man is like the Marvel mascot, right? And like, I was like, he's like, it's right there. Like, just don't overthink this. Just do it.
If you were gonna, I always say, if you're gonna point, at a character that really represents Marvel well around the world, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he was a character from the very beginning that was instantly popular and has never stopped being popular.
Yeah,
and
almost 60 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think the reason why is that he is fundamentally Marvel, and by that I mean he is a great example of what Stan Lee always said: is we're going to put the human in the superhuman. You're going to meet the character first, really fall in love with them, and then they're going to have their science accident and get their powers. Yeah. So you love them before they become superheroes, and all of their challenges and problems and things they face before they have their powers don't go away. They get amplified, and that's something that we gelled on from the very beginning. Is if you're going to tell a Spider-Man story, it also has to be a Peter Parker story. And we talked about something that I learned from a couple editors at Marvel, one named Tom Brevoort and one named Ralph Macchio. Mm-hmm. And they taught me that the best Spider-Man stories are when his worlds collide.
How many times have we said that to each other?
That became our North Star.
Like worlds collide. That quote was literally from what Bill told me. We had a conference call. I was in Ted's office, first time meeting Bill via phone call, and I took either 7 to 10 pages of notes. And I remember circling that quote from Bill. I said, "This is everything we're going to build the game around. That is the best stories when Peter's world and Spider-Man's world collide." And it was like that North Star, that thing that we concentrated on. Everything we decided, are we coming back to that? Just like a game, when a game's being made, a lot of directors talk about the game's pillars. Like, these are the things we come back to, and always is it supporting these pillars. The overall arching thing is, are we delivering on that idea from a narrative standpoint?
And there is so much narrative. There's so much fantastic narrative in this game, and I have to ask about how the scripting came together and how the writing came together, because right from J. Jonah Jameson's podcast and Radio Blast, those are amazing. But in Yuri's incredible voice performance, there's so much dialogue. I'm talking about Yuri Lowenthal and also the character of Yuri, which is hilarious.
Yeah, right.
But
Which, by the way, is played by his wife in real life.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But I like, how did the script come together for this game? Obviously, a lot of pressure to get it right. But did you start it at an Insomniac, or did it start from Marvel, or was it all together?
I think it's a little bit of all together. We had a very, I think, the number one question I always get is, well, what's it like working with Marvel? Because everybody expects me to say, like, oh my God, they didn't allow me to do this, that. And I will say it is, I don't even really consider you it's kind of part of Insomniac or like my buddy. Really, that's what it's like.
Well, it helps, like, hey, we're 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah, that helps
great.
a lot.
It all began, we sat in a room.
Yeah.
First we had our conference call, and we talked about what we liked about Spider-Man.
Yeah. And then we talked really high level, like I said, hey, I want him to be a little bit older. I don't want to do the 15-year-old.
Sure.
And here's the reasons why. And then we said, hey, we're thinking about Otto Octavius, him working for him. Like, we talked like really high level things, like even themes like mentorship, partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was like where we kind of came in. Then we're like, okay, let's talk, let's bring in not just Marvel, we brought in our Sony producers. And then we just went around and did story treatments back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And
then we had the big brainstorm meeting.
Yeah, we had the big brainstorm meeting, yeah.
And we sat in a room all day.
Yeah.
People from Sony, Insomniac, Marvel, and we even brought in
Marvel editors.
Yeah, we brought in Steve Wacker, who used to be the Marvel Spider-Man editor. We brought in Nick Lowe, who was a current Spider-Man editor. We brought in Dan Slott, who was the record for the most consecutive issues of Amazing Spider-Man.
And then we had Christos there, Christos Gage, who ended up being a full-time writer on the game.
And that was great because Christos actually, in Marvel Publishing, Dan Slott and Christos often worked together.
Yeah.
And there's a whole run where Dan Slott would kind of do the plotting of the comics, and then Christos would come in to do the scripting, the dialogue. So we knew they had a great relationship. And I've known Christos I've worked with him for years on a book called Avengers Academy.
Yeah, he wrote all the J. Jonah Jameson stuff.
Wow.
That's Christos, yeah.
So you can feel that, and I guess that is kind of the new thing with Marvel now, is that you're going to take your strengths from other divisions and you're going to push them into the games, as opposed to just sending them off and
I think it's more like talent sharing.
Yeah. I think it was more about like, hey, we want to do the character right. We have our own ideas, but we also want to check ourselves and make sure that like we are using like I will say Bill was never like, you have to use Christos or you have to have Dan Slott come here or the editors come here. We actually said, can you bring them here, because we want to just bounce things off, because the other thing is like Spider-Man's been around for a long time, and whether it's in comics, movies, cartoons, games. So like there's a lot of stuff that's been done before, and we want to see like, are we being respectful of the franchise? Are we going too far where it's not going to feel like Spider-Man anymore?
Or how far can we push it?
How far can we push it? So I would say like, imagine that kind of back and forth from high level themes and characters to the story treatment all the way to scripts, and then seeing our performance captures. We were always iterating to the point where like even this year at the beginning of the year, we were making big decisions about certain characters, or like, we want to actually reshoot, X amount of scenes, or reshoot, maybe add a part to the end. Like, for example, when you remember in the second act when Peter and MJ are having dinner, and then he kind of does the thing where he leaves his clothes in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like that was actually added very late, because we thought we have a great opportunity for a joke. So that was added afterwards, because we're constantly playing the game, evaluating it, looking where we can kind of get that humor. If you look at like the Marvel movies, right? What Marvel movie do you not see the story is, oh, they did reshoots, so they're adding, because they're constantly evaluating their content and seeing, okay, here things are gelling here, things aren't gelling here. So we just take a very similar approach. It can make you lose a lot of hair throughout the project, but
you look great, Bryan.
I think that's the thing is that we knew. It's funny. When I always present to Bill or anybody, I always say, whenever we talk about Marvel, it all starts with story, and we knew the story had to be knock it out of the park, because we were saying it wasn't gonna be attached to a movie. We wanted to do our own universe, tell our own story, so we knew we had to like knock out of the park. And so we did, I mean, whether it was on the page, whether it was literally in game, whether it was redoing or reshooting parts of cutscenes, we were working to the very, very end to get it right. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Well,
On
the,
our
the
side-
game came out of the gate super fast and sold super well. And I would imagine you guys had some tracking and some analytic data that sort of said, okay, this is going to be a big hit. And you had the DLC in the pipeline. The first 2 chapters are out there. What I'm saying, guys, is I beat the crap out of every single second of this game. Like, I've got 100% like you wouldn't believe. I'm so addicted to this Spider-Man game. I know I'm not alone out there. Do you feel like you should have planned for more with this first one? Do you feel like you should have planned for more DLC chapters?
I don't know. I mean, I think one thing is, I think you can always say that you want more, but like,
It's a good feeling, right, to leave them wanting more?
yeah, I think like if I remember, I've even had that conversation with like either anybody or even the team going, if the worst thing people say to us is, "Oh, I wanted more," then we did our job,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And I think the end of the day, it was always about quality over quantity.
That's right.
And if people have asked me like, what's been cut from the game? Was there anything that was majorly cut? And I said, well, the third act was a little bit longer, but the problem we were having was that it felt a little like we were stretching it out, and we knew that at the end of the day, those missions weren't going to actually hit the quality bar. So we actually trimmed those out. And the benefit of that was not only did it allow us to put more time into those missions, but we actually consolidated some stuff. Originally, the Vulture and the Electro fight were separate. And we actually, one of our designers had the idea of like, hey, we can put this together. They're both aerial enemies. It's the last act of the game. People are probably really good at swinging at this point. We can make the whole fight happen in the air. And that fight is infinitely better because of the decision to consolidate and focus a little bit more. So, are there certain things in the game or certain characters that we originally had planned that didn't make it? Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, I wouldn't go back and change I would add another 2 or 3 hours to it.
And I got to echo what Bryan said. Is really it comes down to quality.
Yeah.
And we could have made 10 or 12 DLC chapters, but if the core game itself, I mean, that's what we wanted to focus on. Let's crush that core game, and then it's quality. Yeah. If there's a ton of it, but it's not reaching the height we want, then what's the point?
And I think the thing that people, I mean, at least this is something I thought about a lot during development. I mean, I would talk to Bill, and especially Bill and Mike. Mike Jones is the executive producer, vice president of production. He's a big
big wig.
And I knew what Jay was going through, basically taking over Marvel Games and what he expected from this. Sony, who I think a lot of people forget, like this project is not possible without Sony going forward.
Right.
And they, to be able to work with Mark Cerny for 4 years on this project as one of our producers was invaluable as a first-time creative director. And Grady Hunt, Connie Booth, Ara, Jill are their producers, and everybody else at Sony.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, it's funny, when we talked about this project early on, I remember me, Bill, and Mike having drinks talking about this is going to be the Iron Man for Marvel Games. This is the one that's going to set the standard for what Marvel Games is about, and that every game is going to have to go up and up and up.
And that was your combined goal. That was the goal that you guys were all setting.
Yeah.
That's
definitely
what I talked
for us.
about
It was that the whole Marvel Games team was reformed, built from the ground up, and this was our proof point. This is the new team. This is our new philosophy. It's going to take form in Spider-Man, and it was a lot like when you go to that very first teaser trailer, where he says no pressure, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what it was to us. It's like this is our big coming out party.
Yeah.
Awesome.
By the way, we wrote 75 versions of that. So I'm not joking with you. We wrote 75 different versions to the point where I was like, it was like 75 versions.
I want to give
3 lines.
I want to give a shout out to writers John Paquette and Ben Arfman.
Yeah.
So it was John and Ben and Bryan. They really brought the fun and the funny and the structure and the love to Spider-Man, and that's we knew when you're talking about story from the very beginning. We knew they were going to kill it when it came to traversal and the fighting.
Right.
We knew that.
Right.
I didn't want to read a single review where someone said, but the story.
Right.
And I'm like, and like now, they anything Marvel is compared against anything else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's TV, comics, movies, games.
Yeah.
I said they're going to compare us to the latest movie.
Yeah. It's funny.
So-
Every single time a new movie will come out, I'm like, oh god,
Right.
oh, this one's really good. They're gonna, oh, okay. Black Panther just came out. All right, it's like the greatest movie in the world. Okay, no, like, and yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's what I mean. I think that's the other thing is we knew when we started this project. That's when Marvel was really Marvel movies were really starting to.
Oh,
you know,
listen,
come
like
through.
I don't think people give Marvel enough credit, and I don't think Marvel's got the perspective to realize what it's doing. But this has never been achieved before.
No, the
and
bar
Bill's
is
talking about it, the scrappiness of Stan Lee and Ditko and company.
Yeah.
This is what's going on with Feige and his teams with these movies that are
Yeah.
like every
You
time
see
they're
that-
hitting it out of the park.
And now there's an agreement between Marvel and the audience, and I would say between Insomniac and your audience is when it comes to the movies, people are like, okay, this movie was Iron Man and okay, Captain America, and then they're like, well, Ant-Man, I don't know what an Ant-Man is, but it's got the Marvel logo on
trust
it,
it.
so I'm going to see it. And so now there's this agreement that if we put something out with a Marvel
Yeah.
logo on it,
Yeah.
it's going to be of a certain quality.
Yeah.
And that's the agreement now, is that you see that Marvel brick over Spider-Man, and the agreement now is it's going to be great.
Awesome. So
And same thing, you see the Insomniac logo. It's like you see the Insomniac logo,
yeah.
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And that's our tightrope that we have to walk.
Great timing for changing the Insomniac logo, by the way, just as the whole
Well,
world
yeah,
changes
that
for Insomniac.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to us, and then that involved the little web was pretty cool.
It was
as well.
amazing. What happens now with the company? I can't imagine you not making Marvel stuff forever now.
Well, we're still making it. We have
That's
another
right.
DLC pack coming out,
Yeah.
so we're still making it.
Are you guys already in sequel sort of discussions and talking about what potentially could happen?
I mean, right now it's really about finishing out the year
The
and
DLC.
getting DLC, getting the last DLC out for the year, and making sure it hits the quality bar that the other two have hit. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about what suits are going to be available and stuff. More information soon.
Over Thanksgiving break, we were reviewing trailers,
Yeah.
looking at scripts. So we're still in it, and we got to bring the third chapter of the DLC.
Yeah, I
home.
think that's the thing is we want to make sure we're focusing on the immediate right now and making sure that like you said, one thing I actually have to say, I've been on the road a lot, so I've been leaning heavily on like people like Ryan Smith, our game director,
Yep.
Jacinda Chu, our art director, John Paquette, our lead writer, to kind of make sure those were going in the right direction. And I think the great thing and Bobby, our animation director, and like 9,000 other people who are working on the game. That's not an exact quote, but you know what I mean. Please don't say there's 9,000 people working on the game.
You said there are.
Exactly. That we wanted people to say this content meets the quality of the main game. And
Right.
I think especially seeing people's reaction to Black Cat and how much they loved that relationship,
Yes.
and then seeing that with Hammerhead and then where we're going to go in DLC 3. I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of is not only does it keep people engaged in our game world, but it's hitting the quality bar and the notes that we established in the first game.
I told Eric this, but I don't know. I don't think you guys know this, but I have a 6-year-old daughter, and she's watched me play most of Spider-Man, and so
Yeah.
her first exposure to the myth of this character is your work, and she's in love with it.
Crazy.
And
And-
she loves it. She loved Black Cat. She was a little too intense with the turf wars and everybody shooting at each other, but
It's a little bit different.
she's been loving the experience. So
That's
kudos
awesome.
for that.
And we suspected going in, we're like, hey, we know the world knows Spider-Man, but there, as you said, there might be another generation who are watching their parents, who are watching their older brothers and sisters play the game,
Yeah.
and that this might be their introduction to Spider-Man.
Yep.
So we had to make sure that not only is the experience packed with, I don't even call them Easter eggs, I just like building blocks
Yeah.
of Spider-Man mythos and the Marvel Universe, so that if you're a longtime fan, you see all these characters and signs and things that fill what you expect from the Marvel Universe. But at the same time, we wanted to make sure that if I had just walked in off the street and I don't even know what a Spider-Man is, that the whole experience is accessible.
Yeah.
I know who everybody is. I understand what their motivations are. I know what they can do, and they're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you just a personal thing. I have a sister who's she's about 12 years younger than me,
Yep.
and she's really never played video games ever. And she bought a PS4. She played all the way through the game because she's a huge Marvel fan. And she's like, I'm gonna try it. And I was so proud that she finished it. And then she texted me over the Thanksgiving break, and she sent me a picture of her buying God of War, and I was like,
wow,
we made somebody into a routine gamer. So I'm
one of us.
I would say you asked me what I'm proud of. That one story was really great, but more on a personal level, seeing my little sister playing the game has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, it transcends, right? It's games like this, and I've been saying this forever because I'm a huge comic nerd, and I equally love the Batman Arkham games, and I just want to play these superheroes because every game turns you into a superhero, right?
Yeah.
So why can't we play as these superheroes that we love? And that goes to my next question, Bill. Like, you guys are planning the expansion of the Marvel Games universe. How did you rein yourself in from not dropping in all kinds of allusions or connections to, cameos and pop-up characters that we may play down the road?
Well, I tell you, it's in everything we make, and not only our console games, but our mobile games. We have 6 live-op mobile games, and for all of those, everything we do, we're all trained and indoctrinated through the words of Stan Lee and through what we're taught. Whether you come from editorial or however you come to Marvel, and you come and when you've been with the company long enough, we teach each other. And that is that Stan said every comic book could be someone's first. So it's not about writing down or dumbing down. No, it's you actually, what I loved about Marvel Comics growing up is they dared me to step up. But it was done in a way that, if I read it and concentrated, I understood who everybody was. I knew where I was. I knew the relationships. We try to make it very accessible, but then deep. So with all of our games, and even just talking about Spider-Man, you start writing a list of characters, and there could have been 100 of characters that you could put in it. But, we wanted to make it a good story.
Yeah.
And let the characters breathe and give the characters room. And so it's just upon ourselves to make sure that, as we said, if you're a longtime fan, it's filled with all the cool Spider-Man goodness that you want, but it's accessible. If this is your first Spider-Man game, or even first Spider-Man story. So it's up to us to really find that balance and make sure that it delivers everything you want, but again, that it lets everything breathe and tell a great story, and that anyone in the world can play it and enjoy it.
Awesome. Let's talk about Stan Lee for a second here. You have one of the most touching cameo sequences. It's one of my, if it's not my favorite, it's up near the top, cameos of Stan in this game. And what was it like to work with him on the game? And did he see this? And did he have a reaction to the content?
Yeah, so we worked on it for a long time. Just to, Stan is very busy, and we want to be very respectful of his time. So we worked with obviously the Marvel team to kind of say where would be a good spot to do it, and we thought the Mix character would be a nice little spot. So we actually sent the script over to his team, and next thing you know, we're doing the head scan, and we're doing the VO lines, and it was great. And actually, was really awesome was that I think it was it the day the reviews came out? I think it was the day the reviews came out. We actually went to Stan's house, me and Bill, and we showed him the cameo, and on an iPad, and he flipped out.
He loved it.
He loved it. He was really, really excited to see it, and because we were just doing like VO lines. He really wasn't seeing what was happening, but then when he saw it, his face kind of lit up, and it made it all worth it.
It was great. And even though Stan has been in games before, like the Lego game, this is the first time he was in a game with this fidelity.
Yeah.
And so he was really amazed
really
at how realistic it looked. And I think more importantly, he really liked the scene.
Yeah. There was a poignancy about it that was just so beautiful. It was, I got chills when I watched it,
Oh, great to hear. Yeah, I think, we talked about, players' expectations. And I think there was an expectation that Stan would appear in the game. We didn't know if it was going to happen or not because, obviously, like I said, he was really busy. And we were really fortunate that we were able to, spend time with him, and none of us would be where we are today if it weren't for Stan.
That's
and
right.
many other people at Marvel. So, that's least we could do to honor him. That we're really pleased.
And as Bryan said, we were so lucky to get the opportunity to meet him, go to his house.
Yeah.
At the end of it, we both had the opportunity to thank him for everything. And even though we were saying, thanks just for that moment, we were really saying thanks for everything.
Yeah.
And I was able to tell him that I named my son Peter after his creations, and I think he got a kick out of that. So we were very fortunate to have that opportunity to kind of say our thanks, and now it was say our goodbye to Stan.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we've got more DLC coming next month, just before the holidays. Ish. Yes. Have you announced the date?
You know what? I'm not sure, so I don't want to say yes or no. That
Have we announced the name?
The name? I think so. I think we have Silver Lining. Yeah.
Silver Lining.
Yeah.
Silver Lining. Okay. And Silver Sable is going to be in it, or
announce this or not?
We've announced it's in December.
Yes, it's in December.
In December. Can you tell us do you want to tease any part of it right now? Anything?
I think that a lot of things from the first two DLCs will be coming to a head. So I think if you're looking for some storylines to wrap up, I think you'll be pretty happy.
I love how different the two DLC chapters have been. Black Cat, she was just so charismatic and captivating.
Want to see more of her.
And every scene that she was in. And then Hammerhead comes along, and it's a totally different vibe.
Yep.
And I'm glad for both of them, and this applies to every villain, I think, in the game. Some of these characters, they were invented decades ago.
Yeah.
And I can see how some of them can be seen as goofy. And I think it's really easy to make fun of certain things. But we really tried to stay true to the Marvel tradition. And that's like, let's get something, let's study it, let's look at what the original intention of the creators were, and let's figure out how can we elevate a character, be true to who they were at the core, but as you say, not afraid to shake it up.
Yeah.
And let's not show Hammerhead as a joke. Let's show him as a really scary, terrifying villain that's really going to test Spider-Man in ways that Black Cat didn't. And as Bryan says, it all comes to a head. I love how the individual chapters kind of stand on their own, but are definitely connected. And this is the big finale.
Yeah. I feel like this is issue 5 and 6. Like, like in some ways, it's, you're waiting for that things to culminate, and that's kind of what it is.
The white spider on the logo was a controversial choice, and I asked you about it. I'm sure you had lots of people around the world ask you about it. How do you feel now that the white spider logo? Like, I go to Disneyland and I see people wearing the sweatshirts and the T-shirts, and I've been at expos and New York Comic Con. People are dressing like your character in cosplay already. What's that feel like?
Well, mission accomplished. That's what I'll say. But I would also say, and this is smiling because this made me feel really, really good. There was a football player, plays for the Atlanta Falcons, who hit a lot of the football players on Sundays. They wear cleats either during warmups or during the game. Like, they have different messages. It's either a foundation they support or whatever. And one of the players actually honored Stan Lee. He put Stan on on his cleats. Wow. And he also had Spider-Man on there. And the suit that he chose to honor Stan with was our white Spider.
Yes! That's amazing.
Amazing. It's just, I think.
Well, let me talk about the goal. When you say mission accomplished, at the very beginning, we wanted a Spider-Man that was immediately recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Someone would say, "Oh, that's Spider-Man," but then at the second half, we wanted it to be unique and ownable to the game. So people would say, "Oh, that's Spider-Man," but I've never seen that Spider-Man before. That's not Spider-Man from Homecoming. That's not Spider-Man from the comic books. That's the Spider-Man from the game.
Yeah. I think it kind of represented our philosophy in the game. We wanted to be very, very respectful to the franchise.
Yes. And
people to know, yes, this is Spider-Man. So you look at the design, you see the classic red and blue colors, the iconic eyes, the webbing matches.
We
identical. Studied everything. But then you see the white spider, like, oh, it's a little different. We're going to shake things up a little bit. The white spider, the size of the white spider, was our kind of saying, hey, this is like Bill said, our Spider-Man, but hey, everything you love about the character, you're still going to get that. You're just going to get it in a different way.
Yeah, we knew that. To me, it's the best costume in all of superheroes. I think it's the best design costume, and we knew before we changed a single thread, we had to understand what the costume did and what the original creators were intending. Yeah. So we studied, we got together and we really studied the color language of where the red is and we approached it. If he's going to make a suit, Peter's smart. Yeah. He's an engineer. He's not going to put anything on this costume that is superfluous and that doesn't help him do what he does. So we approached it kind of like as athletic wear, and we studied, what does the red do? Oh, it supports the muscles. Oh, what's the blue areas do? Oh, that's flexibility and breathability. And we really looked at the color blocking. We studied, as Bryan said, the webbing. We studied the spokes and the scallops, and we looked at all the costumes throughout the history of Spider-Man, and we looked at which ones worked really well and which ones didn't work out so well, and studied. We actually counted how many spokes. And if you do too many, it darkens up his mask and it becomes a black hole. Yeah. But when you have 3 on the top and 4 on the bottom, it opens the mask up more and you get more of the red. Awesome. And there's a method to the madness. There's a reason why people love Spider-Man. And part of that is his costume. So we really
now we're going to see the white spider, though. It's going to be in comic books and stuff too. I've been hearing.
Yeah. Well, it's already
it's happening. That. So there's an event in comic books happening right now called Spider-Geddon. Yeah. Spider-Geddon, and it's all the spiders, Spider-Men and women from different realities. Cool. Sort of like upcoming film Into the Spider-Verse. That's based on the original event called
Such
Spider-Verse.
a good time to be a Spider-Man fan.
There you go.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so our friends at publishing said, hey, and it was Nick Lowe called me up and said, hey, Bill, can we put your Spider-Man in our story? And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Tell me more. And so we've actually invented an Earth 1048.
Wow.
Where that's the Earth of our game's Spider-Man. It now officially exists in Marvel canon.
What does the 1048 connote?
I can't revel that yet.
Oh.
But there's a meaning.
I know there is.
Meaning.
Don't pick a number out of thin air. No, absolutely not.
No, never. No, nothing we do comes out of thin air. Trust me.
So the 4th issue of Spider-Geddon just came out last week. The cool thing is the story is written by Christos Gage, who we mentioned earlier is one of the co-writers of the game.
Kick-ass.
So,
so good.
Now our Spider-Man is meeting.
It was fun. I was reading it on Saturday, and it was really fun to geek out seeing him talk to the Earth 616 version of Miles, and kind of talking about the Miles character and his Miles compared to the Miles that he sees. It was. Yeah. And then there's a Spider Cop reference, which I think made everybody in Insomniac very happy.
Oh, yes.
And the creators have really embraced it. A lot of the editors have played the game. A lot of the creators have played the game. Yeah. And so, that's when you read the story and you see him interacting with Dr. Octopus of 616, mentioning Mary Jane, as you said, interacting with Miles, and all the lines he's saying. Christus is really smart. He references very well our game story.
And what I love is that since our Spider-Man is new, it's like a lot of those Spider people know each other. Yeah. Know each other already. So he's asking questions like as you would the reader, like, well, so like in your world, Mary Jane, yes, I am also with Mary Jane, and yet like I'm with the Peter. It was pretty cool to see that this weekend.
That's awesome. One of my favorite. I love what you guys did with the Spider. It took me a while. I gotta be honest. It took me a while to get used to the change, but I do love what you guys did. And I played as that character a lot. But one of my favorites is the sort of animated look or the cartoon.
Yeah.
Have you thought about rendering the whole city like that, or is that possible, or is that an?
It's a little more. A lot of people have asked about it. It's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah.
At this point, it's not something we can simply patch into the game.
Right. And I love the kind of Roger Rabbit effect that you get.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Where everything looks real, and then here's this comic book character.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the future holds? But like, I don't think that would be as impactful like right away to see the whole world like that. Like, I think the reason that suit stands out so much because it's such counter to what the rest of the world looks like. Yeah. That being said, who knows?
And the second DLC, which is out now,
that's my favorite.
Has a new suit called the Spider Clan.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Inspired by back in 2009, I believe it was. Yep. There was an event called Marvel Mangaverse. Yeah. And there was a Spider-Man manga-verse character, and that's what this costume is inspired by. And again, I'm seeing people in the photo mode take awesome shots.
Awesome. So good.
Oh, your photo mode is just incredible too. Holy crap!
Well, it had to be. Every first-party title has like these amazing photo modes. So it's like a competition between all the studios, like who's gonna one up the other. So,
guys, can we just make this a weekly podcast? Can I just call in with you guys and we just nerd out about your game?
It's not hard to talk about Spider-Man. I always say I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm talking about, and then 45 hours I'm like, I could still keep going. I think
every week would be Victor. What'd you read this weekend?
Yeah.
What was your favorite? Did you read Immortal Hulk? How good was it?
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Yeah, listen, this has been a real treat for me, and I am so elated by the game, and so impressed by your creative synergy and the way that you guys put all of this stuff together. I tweeted when Spider-Man came out, is Spider-Man now the PlayStation mascot? And I feel like we're not far from that happening, and I'm much to the chagrin of Spider-Man fans that don't own PlayStations out there. But one thing actually I do want to say is that Spider-Man PS4 Pro that has come and gone, because I've been asking at different stores. I bought one immediately.
I just tweeted this weekend. I apologize. Oh. I saw people with it was the
regular
PS4
comes with
and I tweeted a picture of someone with a bunch of it, and I had Pro on it, and everyone's like, I thought they were sold out, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I messed up.
Man.
Not the Pro.
See, this is my question. Like, can't you guys at Insomniac and Marvel go have a talk with Sony, because this transcendent piece of software and that console are like, they are going to move people to this medium like never before.
Yeah, probably a better question for Sony. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I know it was pretty limited.
Which is nuts. I mean, when you see that thing on a shelf, it's ridiculous.
Well, and
I have one. I literally have one on my shelf in my office at home because I was like, I'm gonna save this sucker.
Yeah, I haven't unboxed mine.
Yeah,
but that's part of what makes it so special. That it is limited.
Yeah, true.
That's part of what makes it special.
Wise words.
I just like that we have the first red console, so that's pretty cool.
It's really rad. Guys, I love this conversation. I can't wait to catch up on more, and I'm guessing that there will be many more, because I can't see this relationship leading to anything but wonderful things. So thank you for your work this year. You brought out an amazing game together, and I'm looking forward to that third DLC and much more from Spider-Man.
Thanks, Vic.
Thanks, you
Vic.
guys.
Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, you guys. Now it is time for us to play a little game. So we're going to say goodbye to you guys. Thank you so much. We are going to check out a little. I can't even remember. I'm so in Spider-Man mode right now. We're going to play a little bit of Darksiders 3, which comes out tomorrow, I believe, and we can do a little Let's Play and chat with Darksiders 3, and we're just going to jump right into the game. And Blake is going to come over here and join me, and we are live, so we're just going to patch things in and just go as we go, because we've already run the buried treasure, right, Blake? Yep. Okay, so here we go. Little Darksiders 3. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation with Bill and Bryan. Fantastic dudes. And let's jump in to the third chapter of the Darksiders franchise. Okay. All right, so we are playing as a character named Fury this time, one of the four horsemen. And she is going to jump in and start slicing and dicing, because that's what you do. It's a huge open world experience, and you don't have a map in this game. They went with the choice of not having a map, but what you do is you have a little locator that tells you where you got to go. And so you got to go and kill. Actually, I'm not going to reveal too much of the story. We'll just get there. But there's a lot of these enemies. You can dodge by tapping the right on the PlayStation 4 controller. You can dodge by tapping the R1 button. And you can lock onto the characters by pressing the left, the L2 button. And the combat's pretty satisfying. I'm not going to start critiquing this game just yet, but there has been some stuff that has been driving me crazy. I'll have a review for you guys very soon. I'm a little bit farther than this in my other save game, but I wanted to not get too far for our first combined look at the title and then Let's Play and chat. So you're going to plug in the mic. So everybody with headphones in, take your headphones out as Blake plugs in his mic.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. and hopefully it sounds all right. I'm sorry I wasn't following along with the chat.
Yeah, we had a new member during the Spider-Man chat,
Oh,
Bo.
wow, right on.
The
Bo, thank
person
you.
who asked earlier about where's Tommy.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
So new member Bo, thank you.
Thank you, Bo. Cool. Were there any questions or comments that I didn't get to, or?
I can't.
It was a nice
recall
long
any.
conversation. How long were we talking?
I'd have to scroll back pretty far. If you had any questions, re-ask them because I'm
Yeah.
not scrolling back.
Yeah.
Dan,
As you can tell, I was very excited about having that conversation with those guys.
Yeah,
I've
it was
been
great.
loving Spider-Man.
Danny Sullivan is asking about have you seen or heard about the Peter Jackson World War I documentary?
I haven't. Honestly, there has been so much bad news and so much heaviness in the world with lots of other things that I didn't really want to see. To be honest, I didn't want to go back and look at that trailer of some heavy stuff from World War I.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's beautifully handled and I've seen a lot of friends on Facebook just raving about it, but I'm dead. I wanted to take a break from it, but I eventually will for sure. I don't know if I'm rushing to review that. Are they bringing it to theaters or? I heard it's cool though.
World War I stuff gets me so angry because it was such a stupid war.
So preventable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people dying for. At least with World War II, it was like.
Well, that's why it's important to have discussion about it and to not forget
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I'm not saying don't.
Hopefully we
I'm
learn
a
from
history
things.
buff. It's just. Yeah. Whenever I see any or watch anything or read anything about World War I, it's like I get really annoyed and angry.
Bill Rosemann was awesome, right? I once was at a panel that Bill Rosemann had at San Diego Comic-Con, so I was really looking forward to having him on the show. But during the panel, he expressed his affection for the character of Spider-Man and Peter Parker and how much he meant to him. And he started to get choked up as he was talking about it. And I was like, this guy is a true believer. You know, Stan was always talking about the true believers there, and Bill is that, you know. I'm so impressed with what's coming together. I know that it's not easy to bring all of those collective creative individuals on board to collaborate and bring something together like that, but man, that's a great first stab at it with the Spider-Man game.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to say it's lightning in a bottle because they could make it again, but yeah, to get all those different for all the stars to align for a big game like that to come out is always a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, Bryan can't really speak to the larger sort of company future of Insomniac, but I can't see Marvel or Sony ever saying, we want somebody else to do Spider-Man now.
Yeah. Question from Nintendo Boy. Vic,
Yeah.
did you ever watch the Peanuts holiday specials with your family?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, everybody. Who hasn't seen the Charlie Brown?
I have those on my iTunes account, so we watch that on iPads and stuff like that every year. That's a common view.
Is there anyone, at least in this part of the world, who hasn't watched those?
Oh, they're so good, man.
Yeah.
The Vince Guaraldi music.
Yeah.
Or Vince Guaraldi. So good.
Question from Taz. Could we use Discord to submit Rocket and Ray Gun videos?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, good question, Taz. Yes. Blade Blur or someone hopefully will put up the Discord channel there. I haven't talked to the Discord folks. I want to change it to something similar than the link that we have right now. But please join our Discord, and Blake and I will endeavor to hop in there very soon. But you can definitely send us video suggestions.
Powder Keg asking,
this guy's tough.
Anything major being going on in the EPN world the last few weeks? I guess the two biggest would be the Tomb Raider and Pokemon spots that we did.
And there's something really big going on behind the scenes that it's too soon to talk about.
Don't talk about that
yeah,
yet, Vic.
it's
Don't jinx it.
yeah.
But yeah, we've been putting together a behind the scenes on the Tomb Raider DLC, Shadow of the Tomb Raider DLC.
Yeah.
First 2 chapters are out. Chapter 3 is coming. I've finished editing it, but now we're just proofing. And so those are on the Tomb Raider YouTube channel. We made those back in August. We went to Eidos Montreal. And then the other big thing is our Pokemon spot. If you go to Cineplex.
It's a little mini EP segment.
Yeah, it's like a minute-long thing where you're talking to Andrew from Nintendo about the game.
Yeah.
And we're both very proud
super
of
fun. And then there's some more documentary stuff that's percolating and other cool things that are percolating. It's you know what it is though. This is a crazy time for me to stop getting content together so that we can negotiate things and put deals together. Like this time of the year, it's just really really hard. You know, because what we want to do is just deliver this stuff, you know, like we did today. And if I'm having meetings or running around town or on the phone or putting pitches together or whatever, then I'm not playing Darksiders 3, you know? And I have to play Darksiders 3 in order to talk about it.
Apropos of that, Jordan Cunningham's asking, what do you think about this game so far?
Very cool, but
It looks cool.
there's
That's
some,
a cool looking monster.
There's some issues. It is a very cool looking monster. The beasts are great. I don't know if I beat this guy yet. I pulled up a different save game to put onto this thing here. Okay, so right, there we go. Okay. Oh man, I healed myself, and then he threw 2 giant rocks at me, and I'm at half health. Oh, that freak. Okay.
Question from Adrian Leon. For playing Red Dead Online with EPN members, after you first play it on the console with the most votes, will you still play it on the console with the least votes at a later time?
I will try, my friend. Absolutely.
I'm shocked they don't have cross-platform
Yeah.
multiplayer. It's kind of crazy that they don't.
Okay, I'm gonna do this.
Because you could transfer your character from one to the other in GTA Online,
Yeah.
which was cool. But yeah, you can't.
Get out of the way. Yes, there we go. Okay, I got some moves. Okay, now this is pretty cool. There we go. Come on. Yeah. Okay.
Doi Owen, how hard do you think it will be to pick a game of the year this year? Because there's so many great ones.
It will be pretty hard. I think I'm getting pretty close. What surprised me, and I talked about it a little bit earlier in this show, is that one of them that's going to be one of my candidates is a VR game, which I was not.
Tetris Effect?
I'm not revealing that yet.
Or was that Rainbow Six game?
I'm not revealing it yet. But that has surprised me. Is that the choices are coming from every direction.
Yep. Did no one else like Far Cry 5 as much as I did? Because that's kind of not on anyone's Game of the Year list.
Yeah, that was an incredible
game.
game.
I like
too.
that game.
Yeah, that was an amazing game.
I guess the story was kind of weak.
This is the thing, is now we have to, Blake and I have to go through everything that's come out in 2018. We got to prep a video for the best games of the year, and that will help with our picks for Rocket and Ray Guns, but also all of yours as well. We've done pretty good. I counted the amount of reviews. There's humans that exist in this world. And,
Like they're survivors of the apocalypse?
Yes, and she is begrudgingly helpful. And there's some really funny lines in here. The woman that plays Fury was in Firewatch, actually. She was the woman on the radio in Firewatch. She's great. She called them idiots, right? So she saved this human, but then she's like, these idiots, they never know what to do. Okay, so...
so she saved that person? She didn't kill them?
She saved her.
But she beamed her away somewhere?
Yeah, and I'm not going to spoil too much of that stuff. People can come find their way in. I really wanted to just sort of get into the gameplay a little bit and show it off. But the world is pretty expansive, and there's lots of twists and turns, and you can see that there's lots of areas that you can go to later. What I'm doing is I'm following that. I don't know if you guys can see the little skull at the top of the screen is where I'm going. So I'm just sort of following that to my destination. I've got double jumps.
Those are weird looking egg things.
There's little eggs, little alien eggs.
We didn't talk about it, but the rumor is that a new Alien game is going to be announced at the Game Awards this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Sega released like a teaser thing on Twitter about it.
I'm super stoked for all the reveals next week, man. It's next week already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of Game Awards, Blade Blur says, if the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards deadline is early December, doesn't that mean Smash Ultimate will get axed because we won't be able to play it?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's December 7th, I think, was the date that I said to...
Everyone's just going to say they'll play Smash for 5 minutes and say best game of the year.
That's a very good point, Blade Blur.
Maybe we should make it like a day or two after...
I guess I did it for a Friday, but I guess we can do the deadline for the Saturday, and then we'll have to put it together on the Monday. We'll have a skeleton of what's coming together the week before, and then it's an assembly question for us, you know, like what are we gonna have to edit? But yes, we definitely have to open it up to Smash. Smash has got to have an opportunity to be included in there. Okay, so one of the things that I really like about this game is the mechanics on swinging. I love this, you know, putting your feet through the water as you're going down. It's so cool. It's a nice little effect there. It does feel, when I play the game and look at the game, that it feels like it's from a different console generation, and I don't mean disrespect to the developers, but it's with like this polish and sharpness, this refinement for present-day machines. And there's HDR on the on 4K screens or on HDR-capable televisions.
If THQ hadn't gone under, this probably would have been a PS3 game.
Probably,
right?
yeah. But I think they started from scratch. I don't think that this was there was any carryover.
But like, didn't they start working on Darksiders 3 before THQ went under? And then,
yes,
but then this, for legal reasons, I think they had to start again from scratch. But
right.
they probably used a lot of the same story points and ideas, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I actually don't know too much about that stuff. The one challenge. I mean, I love that THQ is back in the game space, but it's not like a company.
It's not THQ.
That we see or talk to all the time because they're based over in Sweden.
The THQ Nordic is not at all THQ.
No.
Original THQ. They just licensed the name or bought the name when THQ
Yeah, I think
went
there's some
bankrupt.
developers that are.
Yeah. So the story,
similar.
because the developer, I think they were called Vigil Games.
Yeah.
The developers of the first two Darksider games were the THQ subsidiary. They went under when THQ went under.
Yeah.
THQ Nordic Games, which has now been called THQ Nordic, bought the Darksiders games, and then they founded a new studio with former members of the Darksider developers, and that's who made this. It's very confusing.
Yes.
It's stupid that Nordic Games changed their name to THQ Nordic because it makes everything needlessly confusing. Like, because they don't have anything to do with the other THQ, even though they own a lot of THQ IP.
No, I think it's totally cool because it also symbolizes the newness of this brand as well. You know, the value of the brand and the uniqueness of it. It makes it distinct.
Yeah, but it's
think if they
confusing
did-
because there's other THQ properties that are owned by like Activision and
Yeah, that's
other people.
fine. But I think if they had said we're THQ again, that would not have been a good thing for them.
But calling it THQ Nordic makes it even more confusing because it's like, were they part of the other THQ?
Only to us, I think Europeans.
No, it's not confusing to me because I know, but I'm thinking for the average person who doesn't follow this shit,
Right.
or the casual gamer who doesn't follow it. Like, I know because THQ went under, and I know that THQ Nordic Games licensed the name
You know,
THQ.
that's a very interesting point because THQ really catered to that casual market, but I don't think that casual market really thinks about the imprints
they
or the
don't
brands.
care. Yeah, they don't care.
They just look at the games, you know.
Like, before I started working on EP, like, I never even paid attention to who the publisher of a game was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, that's why I created EP.
yeah. Like the fact that one
that
James
was my
Bond
mission
game,
was like we should know who these people are
the
and where
fact
these
that
things are coming from.
I remember like the fact that one James Bond game was published by EA and the other was Rare. It's like I didn't even register that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I was
well,
like just
yeah.
a kid playing video games for fun. I wasn't like it wasn't my job.
Shouldn't feel like a job. Should feel like.
Oh no,
you're-
that's not how I meant it. I mean,
You
like,
should feel like you're
But now-
following creators like you
Yes.
follow in any other medium.
but because it's part of my job, I am
Yeah.
very diligent to pay attention to all the behind the scenes
So-
technicality stuff. Whereas the average gamer probably doesn't. The average gamer doesn't care that THQ and THQ Nordic are two different things.
Right.
Comment from Jordan Cunningham.
Yes.
As much as I wanted the PlayStation Classic, I think that game list is disappointing. I'm glad I chose to go with Let's Go Pikachu instead.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that there's all this classic content out there for sure, but I don't know. I've talked about it. I didn't purchase one of those. I'm hoping that Sony will send us one, but I'll be okay if they don't have enough. But mostly my thing is that I've got all those games on the PlayStation 1 already. I've got all
them
those
sitting
discs.
there.
Yeah. I have to tell, like I talked about the classic. I hooked up that @Games Genesis again. I brought it home and I hooked it up to my home screen, and it's pretty damn good, man. Between that and the Super NT, it's been pretty fun to play these old carts, man. It's been really,
But the Super
really fun.
NT is better. Right?
Oh, way better, and it's so good that I didn't really care too much about the Genesis. Like I'm more of a Super Nintendo fan, but now I'm kind of circling whether I want to pick up. Oh, this guy's tough. Shit, I need heal. Uh-oh, get out of there.
Get out of there!
Get out of there,
Run
run.
away! Run away! Oh, speaking of things that are hard.
Yes.
Game Freak 84. Hey Vic, does this Darksiders 3 feel like Dark Souls?
A little bit. Yes. That's definitely an influence. For better or for worse. Okay, come on. Okay. This is one of my favorite things about the game that I like so far. I have this Wrath mode, and I am just a serious badass. Whoa. The demon mode. I like that. Okay.
Oh, here's a nice comment from Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I got a cancer in my knee, I've had a bigger interest in the gaming industry to help me cope with my 12-year-long struggle with cancer.
Oh, brother. I hope everything is going okay, Jordan. Thanks for sharing, man. I hope you're doing all right.
Yeah, games are a good coping mechanism when you go through shit.
I mean, we just talked about Spider-Man and the meaningfulness of a product like that. And it is a product, but holy crap, does that transport you, you know? It is truly
escapism, yeah.
transcendent, you know? Like, it is one of those games where everybody has a way in through Spider-Man. And it delivers, you know? Which is really cool. And escapism is... We need it. That's one of the main sort of reasons why we live on Earth, is to escape into our imaginations.
Oh, so you have a dialogue. Was this in the last two ones?
Yeah, you feed the souls, like in Dark Souls, and then I can buy some stuff.
I see.
I'm going to buy a Havoc shard. These are very useful.
Do it.
And I'm going to buy a small healing shard. And I'm going to sell... not any of my consumables. Ooh.
Tyler Fisher question: did you guys ever discuss Bandai Namco Vancouver closing?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. There was going to be a job fair to help some of the team members there, but I haven't heard from Langdon yet, who was one of the creative directors over there, about where that's going to be. Okay, so I'm going to feed some souls to this Wilhelm, I think his name is. Okay, so here we go.
Of course, he has a German name.
Level 4. Okay, and then now we're going to be level 5. And so you're seeing a little bit of the RPG tree here.
Oh, you leveled up, Vic.
Yeah. Now I can also earn some more money because I have in my inventory. I've been picking up these crystals, and so I shatter them, and I have more souls based on these lurcher clumps. So I'll shatter them.
Seems very complicated.
Well, it's a bunch of different ways to. It's the in-game economy. I don't know if any of this stuff is tied to DLC or you know, any kind of real money or loot box or anything, but haven't got that far yet. Okay, crystals, cool. I've only got the one weapon. Now I've got 2 attribute points. I'm going to give myself a little bit more health, and I'm going to give myself a little bit more strength, and then I'll put Arcane on the next thing, which I think I'll level up again right now. Why not, right?
Jordan has a follow-up comment. After 2 tumor removals, I'm taking a monthly treatment that keeps the bone tumor from getting worse.
Good, brother.
So I guess that's good news.
Yes.
I hope. Oh, wow, you're level 7 now?
Yep. Okay, because I just shattered, got some souls, and I traded some souls for some stuff, and now I've got 2 more attribute points. I'm gonna give myself even more health. There we go. Okay, now I'm ready to face some tough SOBs, and I'm still following that little red skull marker to my objective.
What city was this?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it might be New York, because I'm in subways and stuff. Okay, this guy. So if you time your block just right, you can do some devastating damage, which is fun. Okay, that guy die?
Did you ever play any good Harry Potter games?
I did remember, I don't remember which one it was, but I do remember enjoying. There was one that looked kind of photoreal and was super cool.
Was that the running around the school looking for fun game? Was that one?
No, because if I was looking for fun, that wouldn't have worked.
But that one looked really good. That was like the first one for the PS3.
Yeah, I remember digging some of the Lego stuff as well, but Yeah, that's a series that could stand to be better. I have 2 Havoc shards.
I've never been a Harry Potter fan. Like when I was a kid and all the other kids were reading the books.
Harry Potter.
When I was a kid and all the other kids were reading the books, I was like, this is not my thing. Not into wizards and fairies and leprechauns and that kind of stuff.
You were reading the Henry Kissinger autobiography?
I'm not a fan of Henry Kissinger.
No, I know.
You don't want to get me started on Henry Kissinger.
Okay.
The thing I hate about Henry Kissinger.
Okay, so I know what I have to do. I have to knock this red goo down, and then a bug will come out.
Question from Taz: when will you two be taking a Christmas New Year's break?
We are going to be taking a. We're still determining this, but partially this is about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on. But we are going to be taking a break after the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards, so those wrap up on December 14th. There will still be new This Day and Everything Cool going up, and I'll still be streaming stuff every once in a while, like just playing games and chatting with everybody. But in terms of the rundown and daily deliverables on content, we're going to go deep into January before we start a lot of that stuff back up again, partially because of what we're prepping behind the scenes. So we'll reveal more when it's time to reveal more. But we're planning for a pretty exciting 2019, and we hope that you will join us, and each of you will bring 1,000 friends and join us as well. Okay.
Yeah, add a couple of zeros to our view count. That'd be good.
Oops, the headphones popped out. Oh, I need that bug. Come here, bug. Not you, big bug.
Do you guys have any info on the new Harry Potter RPG that leaked? I haven't seen anything about it.
No info.
Usually when a game leaks like that, like I remember with that Harry Potter, because there's videos and stuff, usually when it leaks, it's either been canceled or it's been changed enough that somebody feels comfortable leaking it.
Or it's calculated
But
marketing.
I think that's usually the case. But I think with that Harry Potter game, it was different because it was like they were focus testing it, and somebody whipped out a cell phone at a focus testing group and like recorded the screen. So that game might actually be coming out for real. But we'll have to wait and see.
So I take the firebug and I throw them at the webs, and then I can go into different areas. And
It's like how you get through the Deku tree in Ocarina of Time.
yeah, a little bit. There's definitely a lot of borrowing of. This is going to be a fun one. Okay, so I'm gonna wait till I have. I'm not going to jump down there because there's a big boss. You can see him over there. You see that guy right there? He's coming out at me.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to get my what is it? Havoc? My Havoc shard ready to go. And as soon as it comes out.
Question from Tyler Fisher. Who is your favorite female protagonist and why is it Cassandra?
Oh, come on. What happened there?
Did you just lose
No,
the game?
I didn't. Whew, almost. I thought activating the shard was going to do the thing. Okay. Let's get
Tyler
these guys.
Fisher, in answer to your question, the best female protagonist in a video game is Alex Vance in Half-Life 2.
She's pretty rad.
She's fucking awesome.
I love Lara Croft as well.
Alex Vance is better.
Lara Croft's pretty amazing.
Lara Croft is a selfish treasure hunter.
And
Alex Vance fights for others.
Okay, yeah.
Lara Croft just raids tombs and steals artifacts for
Okay,
herself.
all right.
Alex
Back
Vance,
off, man.
Alex
Back
Vance
off,
is
Half-Life
smarter
2.
than Lara,
Okay.
and she uses her skills to for the betterment of humanity.
Yeah, well, we got a Tomb Raider 3, okay? That's all I'll say. Drops mic.
I'm thinking of the original. Yeah, the new Lara Croft, she's more compassionate, but Lara Croft, old Lara Croft was just
Lara Croft rocks, man.
was like a rogue.
Just back off.
Yeah, she's cool, but Alex Vance is better.
Okay, Half-Life. Okay,
And
these
the
are,
thing
these
I like
are my
about
souls here.
the thing I like about Alex Vance is she's
Or
never the
pick them
damsel
up.
in distress. You always and especially in Half-Life 2 Episode 1, when you're by yourself, you don't feel you feel scared, but when you're with her, you feel like you've got a friend at your back. You know.
You got a friend.
So she's Alex Vance is awesome. Half-Life 2 is awesome.
You're awesome, Blake.
Thank you.
Okay, so
You're
where
awesome.
do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we? Oh, right. Don't run with the bomb. That's right. Yeah.
Don't run with a bomb.
That's a lesson. That's a lesson right there you learned on EP, guys. Don't run with bombs.
Jordan Cunningham. I really like Eloy. How do you? What's
Eloy?
the one from Horizon? I can't remember.
Eloy.
Eloy?
Isn't it?
Eloy a guy's name? I can't remember her name.
She's great.
Her name
Yes.
was Rush Through So You Can Finish Breath of the Wild. That was her name.
Oh, come on. Horizon's an amazing game.
It was a very poor decision to release that game the same day as Breath of the
No,
Wild.
it did well, man.
But
it was
yeah,
great.
but it would have done
was-
better.
No, listen. A PlayStation player is not an unproven new Nintendo console player. You know, that was very smart of Sony and oh damn it.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Okay, I gotta go do that again.
Oh,
Okay.
Ellie from The Last of Us. What was the lady from?
Oh, Ellie's great too.
But what was the lady from Horizon? Wasn't her name like something similar to that? was that
Isn't
lady?
it Eloy? Or, no, it's no, it's it starts with an A.
Ava?
Aloy.
Aloy?
Or something like that.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Aloy.
Aloy, I think.
Aloy. Aloy.
It's not Aloy. Ah!
I just got a text message from your wife, Vic.
Okay.
She's asking when we're done.
Oh, pretty soon. Okay.
I get a text from your wife. All the time.
Okay, here we go. Oh, I needed that other bug. There it is. Damn
No,
it.
there was one there on the ground still.
Oh, it didn't eat the thing. No, that thing. Damn it.
Cassandra is quickly becoming the best. She's awesome as fuck. Or awesome AF.
All right. Come
She's
on.
a Spartan though, right? In the game?
Who?
In
Oh, Cassandra?
Assassin's...
She's incredible.
I haven't played that game yet. That's the first Assassin's Creed game I haven't
Yeah,
played.
no, that's a great character. No, we don't want you all like that. Okay, so... Sorry, guys.
Those high heels look very unwieldy.
Yeah.
Like, how do you run with
Pro.
those?
Okay. Come on, Bug. I need you in your unvarnished form. You can't be super heat
Is it
bug.
Alloy or Aloy?
Aloy, I think.
Aloy?
Not Aloy. I think it's
Aloy.
Aloy.
Aloy?
How's it spelled?
Aloy.
I think it's alloy
Yeah, that makes sense because of the metal theme of the game, right?
or Aloy. It's Aloy. It's different than the way it's spelled. I remember that. Okay, burn that. Oh, did I hurt myself? I'm okay. Now get this guy and run.
I guess Bayonetta could be on that
Oh,
list.
Bayonetta is amazing.
Lady Gaga's been tweeting about playing Bayonetta
That's
lately.
true. Okay, I'm gonna heal myself. Okay, so we are close to something awesome, but this gives you a sense of the scale of the game. It's not small. Here we go.
How much longer were you going to play for?
I think we'll fight this guy and then that'll be it.
Should I say 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Are you responding?
No, you go ahead.
Who's that robot person that you're standing next to?
I forget the name. Fury. They're all like emotions. It's like you're in Inside Out in this movie, in this game.
Disney Pixar's Darksiders 3.
Like Wrath. Okay, Wrath the Molten Lord. See, I'm already doomed. Okay. I want Havoc. Where's my Havoc? There it is. And now... No! Oh! That might be it.
We're done?
Well, because I have to...
Is there a checkpoint?
The checkpoints are... I don't want to spoil too much, but the checkpoints are problematic in this game. Let's see where we start. If we start right at this thing, we will play it again.
That's a boss battle. They have to put you right there.
We'll see.
They
if
can't-
if we don't, that's going to be the end.
If they
of our
don't, then
little
this
Let's
game
Play.
is not good. Because you never not have a cutscene or you should always have a checkpoint right before the boss battle.
Huh? Funny that. Yeah, we're nowhere near that. that boss.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
insane.
All right, so
Yeah, I'm not playing this game.
Okay, that's a little taste of Darksiders 3, and
Done
also
with this game.
a little taste of my review for
everyone.
Darksiders 3 as well. Damn, that was a fun show. Thank you to Bill Rosemann and Bryan Intihar for being on EP Live today. Congratulations again, you guys, for your phenomenal work on Spider-Man. We are coming back tomorrow. I've got a slightly busy week. I'm hosting at the Vancouver Film School the Pitch and Play event with their game design students. So I've got to do some rehearsing and going and meeting with everybody. I don't know how many EP Lives we're going to be able to squeeze into the week because of that, but we are definitely going to make more this week, EP Lives. And stay tuned for information regarding the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards, and also playing a little Red Dead Redemption Online. I'll have a review of this game, and I definitely plan to stream out a little bit of my Fallout 76 travails as soon as I am brave enough to press the boot button on that game. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. Remember, we've got tons of content for you to check out, so please do. If you dig it, hit subscribe. You can hit that little bell. You can hit the join button and become an EPN member. We've got merch on our epn.tv/merch page. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. We will see you tomorrow with a brand new episode, so please come back for that. Until then, play forever.